Hey, this is Troutbitten. Thanks for joining me. So we're here on a gorgeous piece of water. This is one of my favorite places on a favorite river. And this is a perfect location to show you three key features that all trout water has: levels, lanes, and seams. These are what I think of as the building blocks to reading trout water. All rivers have it, big and small. But it's easiest to see these features on small waters, and especially high gradient waters like this one. So follow along. We'll check out some river sections, and I'll show you what I mean by levels, lanes, and seams. Are you ready? Here we go. So what I mean by a level is just a section of river. There's a level break right here, a nice line of rocks that goes from this bank to that bank and really breaks up what the river's going to become. You have good heavy pocket water down there, and you have some flatter stuff up here. It's clearly very different water. And there's your level break. The trout see it, the trout recognize it. The trout very much stay in their levels. I'm not saying they don't roam around and migrate. Of course they do. Trout down there in that pocket water, maybe in the evening will come up into this flat water. And there's a lot of trout in this water that are gonna stay there all day. For example, if you hook a fish in this water, you'll notice that they very much do wanna stay in their own level. The trout recognize these levels, so as fishermen, we wanna do the same thing. So let's say I'm fishing up through some of the heavy stuff. I'm nymphing, and I'm working upstream. What I like about level breaks is it gives you a new beginning, a reset. You can work one level, and then you work the next level. If you're fishing with a buddy, for example, you can jump levels. I'll fish this one, you go up, fish that one. And then you get into the next level without really disturbing what's below. These are just natural breaking points in a river. So I really believe that trout see the river in lanes, meaning from upstream to downstream, almost vertically, upstream and downstream. They see the water coming to them. They very much stay in their lane, and they see the bugs coming at them, and they feed that way. Especially in fast water, they don't often cross lanes very much to go get food. They're in their lane, they see the river coming that way, and we want to see it that way too. You have a great strip of water here, an obvious rock that's going to break things up. You got a great strip on the left, a nice lane. You got a great strip on the right, a nice fast lane. And I don't think very many trout are gonna be in that left lane, go all the way over to that right lane. They're really not. You can see too where these two strips actually kind of merge right here. That's what pocket water is constantly doing, is merging and dividing into lanes. So we want to see it that way, because that's what the trout see. Now, this is really obvious. It's very easy to see this in a bigger river and in other sections. A really great tip, I think, is to look upstream to see where the lane starts. You might have to look up 100 yards to see where the lane starts. In this case, it's only 10 or 20 feet up there from where I'd be casting to see where that lane really starts. What formation breaks the river into the right section and the left lane right here. All right, so where two lanes come together is what I call a seam. It's where fast water meets slow water. And here, especially on that right seam, you can really see you got your fast white water lane and then your slow lane that's really kind of hardly moving, and where the two come together is a seam. Now, anglers often talk about the bubble seam. And you can see that here. A lot of the bubbles are formed in the fast lane, and they start to kind of drift out into the slower stuff. And right there in that seam is where a lot of those bubbles collect. Well, that's where a lot of the food collects too, whether it's up top or underneath. A lot of the bugs are right there under those bubbles. It's a great place to fish all year long. Those seams, those very distinct seams, are something trout really like, and we fish them all the time. Okay, so let's take a walk and see a couple more examples. All right, so here's another level break. Not all of them are super distinct. It doesn't always have to be the lip of a tail out, although that's a classic level break. This one here, you have a line of rocks, but these rocks are a little bit broken up. There's lanes actually within this level break. I fished this many, many times. I come up through here, and once I get to this, that's sort of the end of that section, and here comes the new beginning, that section up there. And if I'm fishing with a buddy again, I might start here, and I won't disturb the fish that are in that level if I get in right here at this level. The fish see it that way. So come down here, I'll show you another one. Hey, I'm proud to tell you this video is sponsored by Squala. They're a new brand in fly fishing, and they're making some of the best apparel on the market. Squala waders and jackets and pants and shirt are built for anglers who fish hard. Squala put out a bunch of great gear in 2023, and I have some new favorite stuff. This is my wool suit. My buddy Trevor got me into wool last fall, and I'm all in. Modern wool is amazing. So this is Squala's new Thermo line, composed of 90% merino. The Thermo 350 top and bottom are my new go-to layers. The Thermo 350 bottom is the best thing I've found for the high humidity under a pair of waders. The Thermo top has the same amazing fabric with Squala's leading hood design. It's great for fishing or any other outdoor activity. The merino fabric is soft and super comfortable. I end up wearing it all day long. If you haven't thought about wool for this time of year, give the Squala Thermo line a try. So for a limited time, Squala wants to help the Troutbitten audience try them out. Just visit squalafishing.com and use the code Troutbitten10 for 10% off your next order. Thanks to Squala for supporting the Troutbitten project and for keeping all of us comfortable and ready on the water. So here's another level break, and this one really only goes 2/3 of the way across the river. On the other side, you have some gorgeous lanes and seams that combine and just keep on going down. But right here, you have a line of rocks, group of rocks that break up that section from this section. And really, you want to understand too, at these level breaks, like the trout will not sit on top of those rocks because they have the great stuff up above and some really great stuff below. They don't sit on the level breaks, and we use these breaks to kind of understand where the trout are going to be and help us find them. All right, so here's a really good example of just a bunch of lanes in front of us. Let's count them coming off the bank. Really major seams. You have one, kind of a faster seam. You have two with that in-stream rock is breaking up and making it soft in the middle. That's a soft, and then you get the right seam on that side of the in-stream rock. That's obviously the fastest strip, and that's a wider lane. Then you got soft over there, and really another maybe medium speed against the bank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 lanes. Now, everywhere where the one lane meets the next, you have the seams. They're not always going to be super distinct with a bubble line. I don't really see any bubble lines right there, but it's easy to pick out if you're looking and really looking for it, where fast water meets slow water. Those would be really my primary targets, unless the fish tell me something else. Another neat thing to recognize is that middle seam, let's say the primary seam, the fastest one, if I look upstream to see where that comes from, it's all the way up there 100, 150 feet to that most prominent rock, which pushes that water to the side. And then there's another rock on that bank side, just kind of compressing everything, and you got your main seam coming down through, real heavy seam. The fish might be in that, they might not be. But if I'm casting into it down here, I'm looking upstream to see where it come from so I can understand the river better. All right, there you go. Levels, lanes, and seams. These are the building blocks of a river. Now, bigger water can seem very different. It can be harder to find the lanes, seams, and the level breaks, but they're there. And I will say, as a fisherman, one of the best things you can do is fish this kind of water, where all these features are very distinct. It's easy to pick out those lanes and easy to find those seams. By fishing smaller water, this kind of water just calls to you. It shows you where to fish. It really shows you where the fish are going to hold. They're not going to sit on top of that rock pile. They're going to be in that deep gut right next to it. It's just a lot of fun fishing this kind of stuff, learning it, and then taking it to bigger water, because those features are always there. All right, so I hope that helps you out. Fish hard and have fun out there, friends.
Thank you.
Ready?
Yep.
Is it Grundon or Grundon?
I
would think it's Grundon.